All right, let's call the meeting to order, please, and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start with, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that passes. Next is a motion to approve the Board of Education meeting minutes for August 16th, 2018.
So move. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
Abstain.
I need to abstain also. Patron comments. We do not have patron comments tonight. So next is superintendent, our superintendent, and board comments. So we'll start with our superintendent, Dr. Knost.
Thank you. Good evening.
Welcome.
Such
Good
a big
evening.
crowd. Good to see you all. Just a few good things going on in the district. We'll wrap it up a little later with a video. Not yet though. Wanted to just report on our innovation rooms in our elementary schools. We're continuing to move toward having all 19 elementary schools equipped with those innovation rooms. And Rockwood Facilities Director, Mr. Chris Friend, tells us the innovation spaces at Blevins, Wild Horse, and Fairway are among the latest to be completed. Innovation rooms are in the planning stages at Ellisville and Baldwin, and installation of the rooms at Eureka and Geggy is taking place along with the new construction or renovation being done at those schools. And our Rockwood K-12 STEM coordinator Bob Deneau tells us that by the end of this school year we plan to have all of them up and running and fully functional. They're designed to bring new opportunities for students and teachers. It's a space different than their normal classroom environment, which allows kids to do things in a different way, to be more creative, more hands-on, more experiential. We've said from the beginning they're not initiatives that require teachers to do specific things, but Bob Deneau is just this phenomenal professional development guru in that area, and we have a lot of teachers that have been trained that are doing training in their schools. And I love when I see examples pop up on social media where people just decided to take their kids in there one day, and you can tell that they're sometimes flying by the seat of their pants, and that's the okay with this. That's what we want to promote, that they go in to create something that fits with the lesson they're doing. So anyway, we're excited about that. We were in Green Pines this morning. It's coming along nicely too, and looks really good. Early College Partnership. We're in our second year with the Early College Partnership with St. Louis Community College Wildwood. We have Rockwood juniors and seniors who are able to participate in dual enrollment in high school and college. Students basically earn 60 college credits in the 2-year program. There's no cost other than textbooks for Rockwood families, that is. It's technically covered by the cost or the reimbursement we get from the state. In the pilot program, last year we had 30 students from our 4 high schools, and Todd Minicillo says that we have a total of 60 enrolled now. So the students take all of their classes at the college campus. They can also take one class at their high school, so if a child wants to stay involved in band but still be in the early college program, they can. And participation in after-school sports and activities is encouraged to keep students connected to their high schools. Finally, and we'll segue into a nice video piece that we have, we continue to talk about what some think are, it seems like an easy concept of having champions for all of our kids, and we are on a mission to make sure that happens. And it was our talk all summer. It was our talk at our admin retreat. It was our talk with all of our staff when I had opportunities to talk to them in various groups. And it's really fun to travel around to our schools and see remnants of those things popping up. And the word champions now doesn't need to be explained as much. Not that just to make sure people know we're talking about being champions for kids, not being first place winners necessarily. So this is kind of an example that coincides with that. Kellison Elementary was highlighted by the Aspen Institute, the National Commission on Social, Emotional, and Academic Development. The article reads in part, one key aspect of a positive school environment is that every student is known well and has a strong relationship with at least one adult in the building. That's the concept of making sure we have champions for every single kid. Champions that the kids identify for us. We don't necessarily identify for them. Principal Dr. Kimberly Dickens said staff at Kellison makes a concerted effort to teach students what behavior is expected in the building. Rockwood Executive Director of Student Services, Dr. Terry Harris, says over the past 4 years, social emotional learning has been a common language in Rockwood schools, and it definitely has been, so it just fits with that. So along with the champion piece, we actually had Channel 5 out today. They were interested in what we're doing with champions, and it coincided nicely in something that goes on at Green Pines with first grade teacher Brian Tenney, and I'll let it speak for itself, but it turned out to be a good bit. It showed tonight at 6, so we'll watch it now.
So how do we prevent these kinds of incidents from happening? The Rockwood School District has a unique idea.
And it's all about redefining what it means to be a champion. Mary Ann Martinez takes us to Green Pines Elementary in Wildwood.
When we talk about things like school safety and security, we often think about things like cameras, locks on the door, but educators say what's happening inside the classroom is just as important.
And so the boy climbed up the tree.
As
and
Brian
gathered her
Tenney
apples.
reads The Giving
and
Tree
swings
to
by
his
my
first
branches.
graders,
The tree was happy.
the kids learn about reading and writing. But there's another lesson here, one about sacrifice and kindness.
And I also talk about if you see a need, do something about it. If you notice it, maybe you're the one supposed to help.
Mr. Tenney is a champion in the Rockwood School District, not for being the best teacher or the highest paid.
I am the richest person ever because I get paid by the hugs.
In this school district, a champion is someone a kid can count on no matter what.
When the children know that they have a voice and that they're listened to, the social emotional is humongous. Give them high fives, hugs.
Nicole Cheek shares one memory of how Mr. Tenney helped her son Brennan.
Brennan got glasses and he wore them to school on his first day, and Mr. Tenney showed up with his glasses on as well to support Brennan. So to me and to Brennan, that meant a lot, knowing that he was having a champion.
Brennan sees that kindness and pays it forward. He's a kid known for giving out hugs around school.
I basically just give a hug to anybody that needs it.
This culture is what the Rockwood superintendent wants to see in every school.
Every single kid needs a champion in school that makes that child feel wanted, feels like they matter.
Dr. Eric Cano says kids who see their schools as safe and accepting places are less likely to cause harm.
I think the incidents across the country of school violence, of bullying, of suicide, of all those heavy social emotional things would just diminish significantly.
It's awesome.
So while Mr. Tenney goes through the daily lessons, he is also teaching his students that he cares about them, that he is their champion.
We talk about the kids. We need the kids to listen to us. I can't tell you how important it is that we listen to them. How did you feel?
In Wildwood, Mary Ann Martinez, 5 on your side.
Now, a champion doesn't have to be a teacher. It can be a coach or a bus driver, any trusted adult who a student naturally connects with.
There's a lot of really good friends in the media world, good friends of ours, and Art Holliday's one of them. When he has the opportunity to just add his 2 cents like that, he's always a very positive guy, and I thought just his ending was very appropriate. He wasn't even here today, but he knew to throw that in. So thanks to him, and it is exciting to see more and more of those concepts connecting with a lot of things. For instance, Brian Tenney's All-Stars, that's something he's been doing for years. Brennan, it didn't say, but Brennan's a 3rd grader now, and so he still considers him a champion. He had him as a first grade teacher, and we've had a lot of those situations going on throughout the district where since we've been talking about this, well, we had one today. I think we had an elementary teacher show up at a high school to talk to a student that she had, to just say why he motivated her. And then we have a lot of kids that are like going back to their elementary schools and their middle schools and identifying these things. And we're just kind of perpetuating that, and we're just seeing it just grow more and more, and we're going to keep doing it. And it's our goal to make sure that every kid, and they asked today, they didn't put this on the piece because I know they have to cut it down, so a lot ends up cut out. But the reporter asked what she should tell parents, and the answer was, tell them to talk to your kids. And more the kids are going to come home knowing what that language means, what it means when we say, who is your champion? You're not going to have to explain it to them. In the meantime, maybe you do, but most importantly, make sure that they can say, you know, well, here's who that would be for me. I can name at least one, and hopefully 4 or 5 or even more. And if they can't, that's when you contact the teacher, the school, and say, you know, we need to talk to my child and make sure that we find some positive relationship for them to connect with somebody. So, very good. That's all I have.
Really good. All right, any board comments?
This be a good time as a public service announcement to talk about Eureka Days.
Sure. Okay.
Please.
So actually, and even also to mention, I had a lot of angst in my life this morning because seeing these weather predictions was hauntingly familiar. I had texted Chris and Paul because I started seeing predictions of potentially 6 to 8 inches of rain. And just to give you perspective, the flood a year ago last May was a predicted 7 inches of rain. So I started thinking the worst. Good news is there was a National Weather Service conference call that I was on this afternoon, and they are assuring us that this is not that kind of event. The Merrimack River especially, it's more of a Mississippi, Missouri River event, and still even at that, not mass flooding, but the water, the level of the Merrimack is so low and the ground is so dry that most of the water will be handled and absorbed. So other than flash flooding, not that that's not a bad thing, but we should be okay. They did decide to move the Eureka Days celebration and parade around a little bit. So the parade is no longer Saturday morning. The parade is going to be Sunday at 2 p.m. And the Eureka Days itself is from 10 a.m. on Sunday until 10 p.m. on Sunday, and then 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Monday evening, and the parade being at 2 o'clock on Sunday. I think that covers it. And the parade route switched back to what it was originally. They had moved it, and right when I was announcing that to the board, Matt found that they just announced they're moving it back. So that doesn't really matter.
Matt, any other board comments? All right. Moving along, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. Brett, if you'll go down to public gifts, there they are. We have 3 gifts tonight. First is Gaggy PTO monetary, $3,000 for field trips, for a second field trip for each grade level, $3,000 estimate. CCL PTO monetary, $3,500 for student use in the classroom to purchase 15 Samsung Galaxy Tab A tablets, whatever that is. And then Mo Tech Talk 2018 technology, $1,500 to purchase technology. Bretta Schlegel, over here, on behalf of the district, was a recipient of a gift at the Motec Talk 2018 Technology Conference. The funds will be used to purchase 3 iPads and 2 apps for monitoring the network and designing camera placement in Rockwood schools. We just keep adding to our donations. Thank you very much.
Other discussion? All right, so the motion was to approve the consent agenda items as submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, that passes. All right, next we have a professional learning presentation through the COPE committee. So we have Director of Learning Development, Dr. Renee Trotier is here, and Coordinator of Professional Learning, Dawnette Whisker, to give us a presentation on professional learning. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Okay. Well, we already know who we are, and Donette and I and our secretary create the professional learning department. I've been in the role for 2 months. Donette has been in the role for 2 years. Thank you. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And well, if I can get this to work, can you hit present first for me, Bretta? Thank you. Not working, Bretta. It always works. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and have Donette start with what we've been doing as a department, and then we'll just kind of lead into some of the changes that we're making together and what we're seeing for our future.
Okay, so we're going to start with the mission statement. I'm not going to recite it to you, but we did want to start with this just as a reminder about what our mission is and how that connects to the work that we do in the Rockwood School District. And that, I really think that part about the supportive environment and the knowledge and skills of our staff with our ultimate goal is raising the levels of student performance. So we feel like our job is pretty important because we get to help teachers help students. And so we really enjoy that. So we're going to start with kind of how we plan professional learning. And when we start to think about professional learning, that's not just Renee and I sitting in an office saying, oh, this sounds like a good idea. We look to a lot of different people. So we have a great professional development committee in Rockwood filled with wonderful teachers, counselors, librarians, lots of people that give us feedback and information. We look to our district departments, curriculum, data, all the people in learning support services work together, building level requests, and then professional organizations. Then when we kind of look to those people to plan some of that professional learning, we get ideas for what that looks like. Then we talk about delivering that. And so this is the part that I'm always excited about because Renee's going to talk to you about some of the new things we've been doing, but we've had a lot of success with our summer conferences. So if you've ever had the chance, our Engaging All Students Summer Conference, which takes place right at the end of the school year. This summer we had 233 teachers and administrators come together for that conference. We had a national speaker come in. There was a lot of excitement around that. In those summer workshops, we had 152 workshops offered for our teachers this summer, and over 1,000 teachers attended those workshops. So that impact really, and those were delivered by our department and people all across the district and outside presenters. The other things we're kind of excited about are our series. So we work to serve all staff members in Rockwood. So one series right now we're working on is for classroom assistants. So our classroom assistants at elementary have direct connections with kids. So this year we're offering them a 3-part series on dyslexia training, working with the math program, and also SIPS training, which is part of our reading program. So we want to make sure we're providing professional learning for everyone. In addition, we make sure it's job embedded, lots of collaboration. The exciting thing, Renee's going to talk a little bit more about some of the online and blended. I'm getting the opportunity to work on our digital citizenship curriculum, which we're putting on an online format, so lots of exciting stuff. So, and then how do we get there? A few years ago, just recently, PDC did a program review, and these are the focus areas that PDC members decided were really important. So curriculum implementation, how can we support teachers in that? How can we meet the needs of our struggling learners? And how can we meet students' social emotional needs? So you see how that kind of all ties to the things you probably hear about all the time. And then I talked about those structures. Well, that came from our PDC program review. This is what teachers said, and what research shows us, these are successful ways to deliver professional learning. So that's kind of what we've been working on.
Thank you. One of the exciting pieces that's really fun for our department is just bringing different groups together. And so Dr. Knos was talking about the champions, and we saw that video. We get all kinds of requests from buildings to support their work. And Dr. Knos, we've had so many requests from principals. Can you please help our teachers really are creating their teacher evaluation instrument goals around their champion goal? They want to incorporate the social emotional learning with the curriculum, so it's not something that's separate. And so, we've been doing some things with the curriculum department and executive director of student services to support that work. So it's really kind of fun to see things coming together and not being just a whole bunch of separate pieces. So, the social emotional learning is not really just coming from Dr. Knos, but there's grassroots, that it's just a very clear need and really people understanding how that connects. This morning, Dawnette and I were with Lisa Counts and Terry Harris and some other folks from our district were at an equity summit this morning, and it was really fun to see the elementary and secondary math coordinators really kind of talking about how this connects to their math curriculum, the social emotional work. So that was pretty fun even to just hear that and how they can put that together for their teachers. So new for us this year, we have put in some additional opportunities for administrators. Of course, that's going to be a passion of mine, just from my background. And we've put together a series on effective team leadership that we had the first one last week, and it involves not just principals, but the managers of departments. So we had grounds there, we had finance, we had some business partners from the Fenton Chamber of Commerce that were there, and we're really looking at working with alignment of teams, the execution of working together, what those working arrangements are, and the renewal to make a team effective. So that's been a really fun project to put together. We've put together some networking opportunities. We're really kind of looking at some different structures with professional learning. That it's not that you're sitting and listening to an expert, but instead really kind of tapping into the expertise that's in our district. And so we have a series of networking opportunities for our principals. And the first, I thought, I'll get a small room. We'll probably have like 6 or 7 people come. Oh, no, there were 26. We have 31 schools. So at our first one, and that was really in about the back to school message for teachers, because it's just really important to our schools to be inspiring and to set the right tone for the year. And so those are some of our new opportunities that we have for administrators. Part of this isn't our office, but we certainly are part of the new Rockwood Learning Council that Shelley is heading, and really excited about that. It brings our committees together, the CAC and the PDC and the tech committees, and we really have a wider group of representation from each building, so it's not, every principal is going to be there. You have, all of your 4 core teachers from each of your secondary schools, and representation from all of the other content areas as well. And we're really looking forward to taking some of the work that we've done in PDC, where they get a lot of professional learning themselves, and having that work with a wider group and providing some work time for those school teams to really think about, what we learned today and what that looks like in our buildings. So certainly not our department putting that together, but really thrilled to be part of that as something that's new this year. We've been spending a lot of time working with Glenn Hancock and Shelley's curriculum team on Canvas training, our new learning management system. And, under Shelley's leadership, we are really working to put together some Shelley is really stressing the importance of Canvas not being a place where we just house documents, but it really is about effective instruction online. It's not a place where you just go and interact with a computer that grades. You're interacting with the person, and that social emotional part is really important. The relationships with the blended learning as well. And so what kinds of feedback they're getting from the instructor, what kinds of questions and interactions they can have. And so our department will be working on professional learning for Canvas, along with the other departments that are housed here at the annex. On our plate is the high school half days, which is next week. So thank you for making that calendar adjustment last year. So as the high schools prepare for their new schedule for next year, we brought together PDC members that have been working on it, the schedule committee and the steering committee from the high school program design that Lisa's running, came together this summer to design with our curriculum coordinators as well, to design what that half day looks like. And it really is not about the new schedule. The new schedule is just a structure for the kind of instruction and experiences we want to have for our students. And so it really is a great opportunity to work with our high school teachers on what's possible. It doesn't have to look like it's always looked like. What's possible for our kids, and how can we really leverage that schedule to do what we know what our kids need, and how can we leverage that. So that starts next week. I'm excited about that. We're really looking at working with Dr. Knost and the PI department on other innovative, ways for teachers and administrators and support staff really to learn from each other in a networking kind of environment. Dr. Knost really likes the grassroots efforts, likes innovation to be authentic and to be organic and not to be top down. And so just we're really looking right now at creating an opportunity to mimic a venture cafe kind of environment for our educators, where you might have like little booths set up of educators sharing and showcasing some of the things that are happening in Rockwood. And we're such a large district and we have so many great things going on. And what's that opportunity for teachers to learn from each other and to talk about their great ideas? So we're looking at that. Kind of along those lines, Shelley said it was okay to talk about this today, but we're really in the infancy stage of really talking about digital badging. And I put a link in your presentation, so if you don't need to click on it, Brada, but if you're interested in learning more, there's just a short little article about what digital badging is. But that really is where professional learning is going. If you think about teachers, in learning and growing in their profession, the way that traditionally teachers do that is they get their master's degree and then they get an additional 30 hours, and where that 30 hours comes from really varies from teacher to teacher. And some people, when I was a teacher, I did mine in literacy, so I've developed some expertise in literacy through that. And what we want to do is we want to help teachers be purposeful, with their work. We want to give teachers credit for the things that they learn and know, and we want to create a digital badging system so that you can see, okay, this is an expert in social emotional learning, this person's an expert in literacy, this person's an expert in, and it really helps us tap into the strength of our employees too. And so we're just playing around with that right now, and we thought we would start that with Canvas. So as we do the Canvas training and teachers take online courses about the quality online and blended learning, what that looks like. So that's new this year, and it's only 2 months in, right, Donut? So we've been busy, pretty much. I got the question from Cope, why is this learning development? So the role that I'm in, replacing Suzanne, who retired last year, she was director of professional learning, and I'm director of learning development, I think, without the of. But, what does that mean exactly? So it encompasses the professional learning, but our office is also really working with our curriculum coordinators, who are really doing great with this on their own, actually, but, helping, encourage those innovative instructional practices within the curriculum throughout our system, creating those personalized learning opportunities. We get to follow up on the high school program design committee that Lisa has run. I'm really excited about that work. We are looking at we're going to be doing an uncommittee for the capstone projects that were recommended. I know Dr. Knost really has a vision that every student would have a project interface type of experience. I believe you guys learned about project interface from some students at your last meeting. And, how can all of our kids graduate from high school with some kind of an experiential learning opportunity that really helps them explore some pathways that might be of interest to them? So we're actually going to start that work this November and putting that together. What can that look like? And working with our curriculum folks on career pathways for high school students as well. We have Pi in our office now, which is really great because it just creates more opportunities for collaboration with our business partners to make things like the capstone projects and the innovative learning opportunities and work together. We'll be doing a program review of our ILC, which I'm very excited about. Io Alfred, the new coordinator of the ILC, is amazing, and she has a really great vision for our kids, and I believe that's going to be a place that's going to be a source of envy for the other schools when Io is finished with her work there. So we're looking forward to that. Additional supports for school sites as well, and we'll be really digging into a needs assessment, and we'll be coming back actually to the board, looking at some systems that we want to evaluate not only our needs in the district, but evaluate our services and evaluate the professional learning that teachers get. How effective are we with our curriculum implementation? How effective are we with the work that we're doing? Are we being cost effective, with our funds that we have? What are we getting back when we're sending teachers out? There's great learning, so how are we being systematic about making sure that that comes back into the district? So that's a lot in a few minutes.
Great.
Yeah.
Energy.
Thank you. I'm talking fast, so you can move your agenda. Any questions any questions at all?
Do you guys ever collaborate with other school districts, inviting them in? Do they invite our staff over, things like that?
We actually, go ahead. Do you want to talk about the PLN?
Yeah, Yeah, so one of the opportunities we have is we've got a Great Through Ed Plus, a PDPLN that consists of professional learning leaders from all over the St. Louis region. So we meet with them on a regular basis. We're collaborating with them on some projects and definitely getting feedback. And then we also invite, or attend. We do a lot of reciprocal kind of agreements with people from other districts too. How can we share learning, exchange learning?
This summer, Fox had a literacy institute, and they spent the money to bring in some of those big names, and then we were able to, a very small fee, send our folks there, and really that's a lot of bang for our buck. We did the same thing with MICDS. They host an amazing conference where they're bringing in, all of these incredible minds in our field, that are nationally recognized, and we're able to, send folks for a couple $100, to see these speakers that are just tens of thousands of dollars, to bring in. So it's just really, that collaboration is a really great way to be good stewards of district money.
I love that. That's what I was going to say. I just love that you're including staff. You talk about the classroom aides. He's talking about champions and just involving so many people. Yeah, I think it's just a great idea. And I love that we have these opportunities for all of our teachers in the summer and throughout the year, instead of sending 2 or 3 people off somewhere at an expense, where now we get so much more, as you said, bang for your buck. So good job. You guys are very excited. Anyone else?
I'm very happy to see the part about the ILC. I think that's a great opportunity, a great timing to bring that back and just make sure it's not that it isn't, but make sure it's relevant and appropriate. I think that's a great time to do it. So happy with that.
Thank
you,
very
ladies.
much.
Thank you very much.
Good. All right, next we'll have Chris Friend come up, and we need a motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts of $7,500 to $150,000 as submitted.
Move.
I have a motion and a second. Chris?
All right, just have one quick item tonight. It's for SCI Engineering. It's for construction observation and materials testing at Marquette High School for the parking lot replacement that we are currently doing ongoing testing and completed this summer.
They replaced the whole parking lot?
We did.
I know they did the teachers and the buses, but even the students?
Yes, the entire parking lot, and we actually repaved some of the area around the stadium and the football field.
Is that all concrete now?
I would say 95% of that lot now is concrete.
It
There's
really
some
looks
asphalt.
nice. Really looks nice.
It does. It turned out really well. Good contractor.
You have to redo the compaction testing for replacement of pavement?
It was a little bit different system that we used. It was a concrete overlay, a ductile-crete. It's fairly new, but you still have to pay attention to soft spots, and that's what we used SCI Engineering for, to come in if there was an issue that we were concerned about. They would give us a recommendation.
Questions? All right, so the motion is to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts, $7,500 to $150,000 is submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, those pass. Thank you.
Chris?
All right, next is the proposed agenda for the September 27, 2018 Board of Education meeting.
As we're scrolling through that, I'll tell you that it's our intent to, even though that's 3 weeks, if you remember, we combined the tax rate hearing and the next meeting. We pushed the meeting forward to the tax rate hearing night. So the plan right now is that we will actually open up the tax rate portion of the meeting, which will be the opening of the meeting itself at 5:45. We have to have 15 minutes to allow anybody that wants to address the board. And in my years as superintendent in Rockwood, we've never had anyone address the board, so we usually sit here in silence. And then 15 minutes later, we'll have Paul come up and present the tax rates, and we'll approve them, and then we'll recess about 6:05 from open, go into closed, and we're going to I'm going to keep closed to no longer than 30 minutes. We'll be back out at 6:35. So the actual open portion of the meeting that we normally do is going to start a little early. It's going to be at 6:35, and then we're keeping the agenda light because we know that the board is actually presenting the next day at MSBA, so we're leaving some travel time in there. So that's the plan. Light agenda is the plan.
else about that agenda? Okay, very good. 9.01, future agenda presentations and events to attend, and Janet has a couple things written down here. We already talked about Eureka Days Parade. September 12th, which is this upcoming Wednesday, is that correct? Is the District Crisis Workshop from 9 to 11:30 a.m. right here. We've already discussed the MSBA conference. None of us need rooms for that, but there will be a contingency going down to present. Anything else? Good. All right. I think it's time we adjourn the meeting.